The USS Valiant hung in lunar orbit, a sleek behemoth of human engineering that gleamed silver under the harsh solar light. Its fusion-powered engines dormant, but ready, the ship represented Earth's pinnacle achievement in warship design, 3 kilometers of reinforced titanium alloy hull, bristling with railgun batteries and missile pods. Yet, for all its outward lethality, its true power resided in the experimental technology, nestled deep within its central core. Commander Mara Ellis stood on the bridge, her reflection ghosted in the massive viewport, as she looked out at the cratered lunar surface below. At 42, Ellis wore her dark hair in a regulation cut that framed a face, etched with lines of command and loss. Her blue eyes remained fixed on the tablet, displaying the final calibration data for the ship's newest weapon, though weapon didn't quite capture what the Aegis scanner truly was. "Lieutenant Patel, what's our status on the scanner?" Ellis asked, her voice carrying the slight rasp of someone who'd given too many orders during crisis situations. Raj Patel looked up from his terminal dark circles under his eyes, betraying the 72 hours he'd spent fine-tuning the device. "Final algorithms are compiling now, Commander. We're at 98% operational capacity, better than simulations predicted." Ellis nodded, satisfied, but unwilling to show relief just yet. The Aegis scanner represented 2 decades of Earth's most classified research, a quantum-based system capable of instantly profiling any biological entity or technological construct it targeted. In theory, it could reveal strengths, weaknesses, tactical capabilities, even psychological profiles of alien crews. In the complex galaxy, humanity had entered knowledge wasn't just power, it was survival. "Ensign Kim, what's our comm status with Luna Base?" Ellis asked, turning to the young communications specialist whose fingers danced over holographic interfaces with practiced precision. Zoe Kim, barely 25, and already renowned for cracking 3 alien encryption systems during the Proxima conflict, didn't look up as she responded. "Secure channel established, Commander. High Command is standing by for confirmation that the scanner is online." "And Dr. Ortiz, your assessment of the crew's psychological readiness?" Ellis directed her question to the ship's senior xenopsychologist, a woman whose insights into both human and alien psychology had proven invaluable during first contact scenarios. Lena Ortiz stood from her station, her tall frame and deliberate movements carrying the gravitas of someone who routinely made life or death decisions based on alien behavior patterns. "The crew is stable, Commander, though I've detected elevated anxiety in personnel directly involved with scanner operations. Expected given the stakes, but worth monitoring." Ellis suppressed a grimace. The stakes. 2 centuries of human expansion throughout the solar system had come with a cost. Uneasy alliances with nearby alien races, territorial disputes, and occasional armed conflicts that had hardened Earth's approach to galactic diplomacy. But nothing had caused more sleepless nights among Earth's leadership than the rumors of the Xanthian Empire. Located somewhere at the galaxy's edge, the Xanthians were spoken of in whispers, even among battle-hardened space captains. No human had ever confirmed a direct sighting, but devastated colonies and mysteriously obliterated outposts told their own story. If the Xanthians possessed technology beyond the Aegis scanner's profiling capabilities, humanity's carefully constructed security might be more illusion than reality. Ellis felt the familiar weight of responsibility settle deeper into her shoulders. The Valiant wasn't just assigned to test the scanner, it was positioned as humanity's first line of defense. Looking around the bridge at her crew, the best Earth had to offer, she wondered how many of them would still be alive if the rumors proved true. "Commander," Patel's voice broke through her dark thoughts. "Scanner calibration is complete. We're ready for the test phase." Ellis nodded. "Proceed." As the crew turned to their stations, Ellis allowed herself a moment of private reflection. Her mind flashed back to Callisto Colony, her home reduced to scattered debris in the Jupiter orbit during what official reports called a regrettable misunderstanding with the Centauri Collective. She had been off-world commanding a patrol vessel when the colony fell. The guilt of surviving what 2,000 others hadn't still gnawed at her core. The soft murmur of conversation across the bridge brought her attention back to the present. She caught fragments of hushed dialogue, some crew members expressing pride in Earth's aggressive expansion, others voicing concerns about the moral implications. Ellis had learned to cultivate this diversity of thought. Echo chambers got ships destroyed. Lieutenant Patel, she said, run a full diagnostic on the scanner's predictive algorithms. I want to ensure we're not getting false positives, or worse, false negatives. Already on it, Commander, Patel replied, his fingers flying across his console. I've implemented a triple verification protocol. Nothing gets through without being checked 3 ways. Ellis was about to respond when Ensign Kim's voice cut through the bridge, pitched higher with tension. Commander, long-range arrays are picking up an unidentified signature entering human space at coordinates 223 by 47 by 91. It's enormous. The bridge fell silent as data flowed onto the main display. The signature dwarfed anything in Earth's fleet registry or any allied species known vessels. Time to intercept with our current position, Ellis asked, her voice betraying none of the adrenaline now coursing through her system. Approximately 27 minutes at maximum burn, the navigation officer replied. Ellis's tablet chimed with an incoming transmission. The High Command insignia flashed on the screen, followed by a simple text message. Intercept, prevent civilian exposure. Authorized to engage. Alert all hands to battle stations, Ellis commanded. Navigation plot intercept course. Weapons bring all systems to hot standby. Dr. Ortiz monitor all incoming Xeno data for psychological profiling. As the crew acknowledged her orders, Ellis turned to Patel. Looks like our experimental scanner is about to get its first real test. Patel's expression mixed excitement with apprehension. Should I initiate full scanner activation, Commander? Ellis hesitated for a fraction of a second. The weight of being the first human to deploy this technology in a potential combat situation was not lost on her. But orders were orders, and the unknown vessel was heading toward a civilian transport route. Activate the Aegis scanner, Lieutenant. Let's see exactly what we're dealing with. Red warning lights bathed the bridge as the ship accelerated toward the intercept point. Ellis felt the subtle vibration through the deck plates as the Valiant's massive engines pushed the vessel to maximum military thrust. The crew worked with practiced efficiency, each focused on their specific task in preparation for possible combat. 23 minutes later, the Valiant decelerated hard, killing relative velocity as it approached the coordinates where the unknown vessel had been detected. The main view screen showed nothing but star-speckled blackness. Confirming target location, Ensign Kim announced, her voice tight. Adjusting sensors to compensate for possible cloaking technology. The screen flickered, and then everyone on the bridge drew an involuntary breath. Where there had been empty space moments before, a massive vessel now dominated the view screen. It resembled no known ship design in Earth's database, its hull composed of overlapping hexagonal plates that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light, giving it the appearance of a moving void against the stars. Size comparison, Ellis asked, her voice steady despite the sight before them. Approximately 7.4 kilometers in length, the tactical officer responded. More than twice our size. Ellis's mouth went dry. Nothing in human space approached that scale. Lieutenant Patel, initiate Aegis scan. Full spectrum. Patel nodded, his hands trembling slightly as he activated the sequence that would put Earth's most advanced technology to its first real test. Scanner powering up. Targeting parameters locked. Initiating scan in 3, 2, 1. A pulse of invisible energy surged from the Valiant toward the alien vessel. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then, the bridge screens erupted with data. Information cascaded across displays as the Aegis scanner compiled its findings in real time. Power readings, weapons, capabilities, biological profiles, all categorized and analyzed faster than human eyes could follow. Until everything stopped. A single display illuminated the center screen, with block letters that caused Ellis's blood to run cold. Target analysis, complete power output, equivalent to supernova-scale reactors. Weapons capability, planetary surface vaporization. Crew biology, genetically engineered over estimated 3,000+ years. Target overmatched, all crew doomed. Silence descended on the bridge, broken only by the soft beeping of systems continuing their operations. Ellis stared at the screen, her mind racing to process the implications. "Is this accurate?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Patel's face had drained of color. "The scanner is operating within all parameters. It's not malfunctioning." "They could wipe us out without even noticing," someone murmured from the tactical station. Ellis saw the danger immediately, not just from the alien vessel, but from within her own crew. Fear was contagious, and the scanner's blunt assessment could trigger a psychological cascade that would make defeat a self-fulfilling prophecy. "Lieutenant Patel, lock down the Aegis protocols," she ordered sharply. "No further scans without my direct authorization, and purge that assessment from all screens." "Commander," Patel questioned, fingers hovering over his console. "That's an order, Lieutenant. The scanner is an advisory tool, not a fortune teller." Ellis turned to Dr. Ortiz, whose professional mask had slipped enough to reveal her own concern. "Doctor, I need a rapid assessment of psychological impact on the crew." Ortiz straightened, professionalism reasserting itself. "The warning creates significant trauma risk, Commander. If the crew genuinely believes we're doomed, it could impair cognitive function and decision-making. I recommend immediate countermeasures." Ellis nodded. "Agreed. I want you to begin psychological support procedures. Focus on key personnel first, then work outward." Ensign Kim's voice cut through the tension. "Commander, incoming transmission from High Command Priority Alpha." Ellis took a deep breath. On screen, the holographic image of Admiral Suresh materialized on the bridge. His weathered face set in the stern expression that had become iconic in recruitment materials throughout Earth's colonies. His voice came through with crystal clarity, leaving no doubt about his expectations. "Commander Ellis, sensors indicate you've made contact with what may be a Xanthian vessel. The Aegis scanner's data has been received at command. Your orders are explicit: scan, report, and destroy the target vessel. Earth cannot afford to show weakness in our first confirmed Xanthian encounter." Ellis felt her jaw tighten. "Admiral, with respect, the scanner indicates the target possesses firepower that significantly outmatches the Valiant. Recommend strategic withdrawal to regroup and—" "The Valiant is not some patrol skiff, Commander," Suresh cut her off. "It is humanity's prestige asset. Its retreat would shatter morale across all colonies. You will engage as ordered, or face immediate court-martial. Is that understood?" Ellis met his gaze steadily. "Understood, Admiral." The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in silence once more. Ellis turned to face her crew, seeing the mixture of fear, determination, and uncertainty in their eyes. She thought back to her academy days, when as a junior cadet, she had defied a training officer's order that would have resulted in the deaths of her entire class during a survival exercise. The reprimand had nearly ended her career before it began, but 23 cadets had lived because of her decision. "Options," she demanded, looking around the bridge. "I need options." Patel cleared his throat. "Commander, what if we could modify the scanner's output? Not just our readings, but what it transmits." Ellis narrowed her eyes. "Explain." "The Aegis doesn't just passively read data. It actively engages with target systems to extract information. With some adjustments, we could potentially feed false data back through that connection. Make them think we're more heavily armed than we actually are." "Psychological warfare?" Dr. Ortiz asked, leaning forward with interest. "Creating uncertainty in an enemy's mind can be as effective as physical weapons." Ellis considered the suggestion. "How long would these modifications take?" 4 hours minimum, Patel replied. Maybe 3 if I pull engineers from other systems. Before Ellis could respond, the tactical officer shouted, "Energy spike from the alien vessel. They're powering weapons." "Evasive maneuvers," Ellis ordered. "Shields to maximum." The Valiant lurched as its thrusters fired, pushing the massive warship into a defensive pattern. Moments later, the view screen flared white as a series of small objects, probes or preliminary weapons, struck the shields. "Shield integrity at 72%, reported the tactical officer. "That was just a probe volley." Ellis gripped the command rail. "Return fire, standard railgun pattern, full spread." The Valiant shuddered as its railguns unleashed a barrage of hypervelocity projectiles toward the Xanthian vessel. Each tungsten round, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, carried enough kinetic energy to shatter a small asteroid. On the view screen, they watched as the rounds approached the alien vessel and then passed harmlessly through its hull, as if striking a hologram. "No impact," the tactical officer confirmed. "Either they have some kind of phase-shifting technology, or our targeting is completely off." Ellis stared at the screen in disbelief. "We're punching ethereal ghosts," she murmured. Another energy spike registered on the sensors, this one much larger than before. "Brace for impact," Ellis shouted. The ship rocked violently as energy weapons struck the Valiant's shields. Warning klaxons blared across the bridge. "Shields at 31%. One more hit like that and we're exposed." Ellis made a swift decision. "Withdraw to maximum weapons range. Maintain targeting lock, but cease fire." As the ship pulled back, she turned to Patel. "Lieutenant, you have 1 hour to implement your modifications to the scanner. Not 4, not 3. 1. Patel's eyes widened. "Commander, that's barely enough time to—" "It's all the time we have," Ellis cut him off. "Dr. Ortiz, I want you working with him. If this is psychological warfare, I need your expertise." Both officers nodded and rushed from the bridge. Ellis turned back to the main viewer, where the Xanthian vessel hung ominously against the backdrop of space, seemingly content to let the Valiant retreat to a safer distance. For the next 58 minutes, Ellis coordinated a delicate dance of keeping the Valiant just out of effective weapons range, while appearing to conduct standard combat maneuvers. Twice more, the alien vessel fired warning shots, each carefully calculated to fall just short of the Valiant's position. It was toying with them, Ellis realized, like a predator enjoying the chase before the kill. Patel's voice came through her comlink, breathless with exertion. "Commander, we're ready. But I need to warn you, what we're attempting has never been tested. The scanner wasn't designed for this kind of operation." "Understood, Lieutenant. What exactly are we doing?" "We've reconfigured the scanner to project artificially inflated readings, creating phantom energy signatures that will make it appear as if a major fleet is arriving. 30 warships, all Valiant class." Ellis felt a glimmer of hope. "The Armada illusion." "Exactly. But there's a catch. While the illusion is running, we'll have to divert 90% of our shield power. We'll be nearly defenseless." Ellis closed her eyes briefly, weighing the options. Certain death versus probable death. Not much of a choice. "Do it," she ordered. "And prepare all weapon systems for a concentrated burst on my mark. If we're going down fighting." "Aye, Commander." Ellis addressed the bridge crew. "This is it, people. Lieutenant Patel is about to execute a plan that might save not just us, but potentially Earth itself. When I give the word tactical, we'll fire everything we have at a single point on the alien hull. It's a desperate gambit, but it's our only play." She stood straighter, summoning the authority that had earned her command of Earth's flagship. "Whatever happens in the next few minutes, know that your service honors humanity." Ensign Kim looked up from her station. "Incoming transmission from the alien vessel commander." Ellis raised an eyebrow in surprise. "Put it through." No visual appeared on the screen, but a voice resonated through the bridge, oddly modulated, as if passing through multiple translation layers. "Human vessel. You have been scanned and found wanting. Prepare for demonstration of consequence." Ellis nodded to Patel, who had returned to the bridge. "Now, Lieutenant." Patel activated the modified scanner. The bridge lights dimmed momentarily as power redirected to the experimental system. On the tactical display sensor, ghosts began to appear, first 1, then 5, then 20, and finally 30 identical signatures to the Valiant, all seemingly emerging from faster-than-light transit at strategically placed coordinates around the Xanthian vessel. Phantom Fleet deployed, Patel confirmed. Their sensors should be receiving the data now. The alien vessel's next communication came immediately, its tone noticeably altered. Human deception detected. Anomalous fleet signatures registered. Ellis leaned forward. This is Commander Mara Ellis of the Earth vessel Valiant. What you are detecting is the first fleet of the Terran Defensive Alliance, arriving in response to your incursion into human space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. For several long seconds there was no response. On the tactical display, the Xanthian vessel's energy readings fluctuated wildly. Either they were powering up additional weapons, or their command structure was in disarray. Shields at minimum, the tactical officer warned. We're exposed. Ellis made her decision. All weapons concentrate fire on coordinates 172 Mark 43 on the alien hull. Fire. The Valiant unleashed its full arsenal railguns, missile pods, and experimental beam weapons, all directed at a single point on the massive alien vessel. The bridge crew watched in tense silence as the barrage crossed the void of space. This time, the weapons struck true. A small explosion blossomed on the Xanthian ship's hull, not devastating, but a clear hit. More importantly, the alien vessel began to move slowly at first, then accelerating away from the Valiant and its Phantom Fleet. "They're retreating," Ensign Kim announced, disbelief evident in her voice. Ellis watched the tactical display, hardly daring to breathe, until the alien signature had moved well beyond weapons range. Only then did she allow herself to exhale. "Stand down from battle stations," she ordered. "Restore shields to normal operation, and someone get me a damage assessment." As the bridge crew carried out her commands, a spontaneous cheer erupted. Ellis permitted it for a moment, before raising her hand for silence. "We're not out of danger yet," she cautioned. "Lieutenant Patel's status of the Aegis scanner." Patel's face was grim as he checked his readings. "Not good, Commander. The core is overheating from the modifications we made. It wasn't designed to project outward at that magnitude." As if to emphasize his point, a shower of sparks erupted from a nearby console. Warning lights flashed across his display. "The scanner is offline," he reported. "And from these readings, I don't think it's coming back online. The quantum matrix is destabilizing." Ellis nodded, absorbing the news. The loss of the Aegis scanner, Earth's most advanced defensive technology, would have serious repercussions. But those were problems for later. Right now, her ship and crew were alive against all odds. Ensign Kim, prepare a full report for High Command. Include all scanner data up to the point of failure, and a complete tactical analysis of the engagement. "Yes, Commander." Ellis turned to Dr. Ortiz. "Doctor, I want a psychological assessment of all personnel. Flag anyone showing signs of combat stress for immediate counseling." Ortiz nodded. "Already initiated, Commander." As the crew carried out their duties, Ellis finally allowed herself a moment to process what had just happened. They had faced what the scanner had deemed an unbeatable foe, and survived through ingenuity and deception. But the victory felt hollow. They hadn't truly defeated the Xanthian vessel, they had merely convinced it that the fight wasn't worth the effort. And in doing so, they had sacrificed the very technology that might have given Earth a fighting chance in future encounters. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of damage control system, repairs, and crew debriefings. The Valiant limped back toward lunar orbit, its engines operating at reduced capacity after the strain of the battle maneuvers. Engineers worked frantically to stabilize the ship's systems, while Patel and his team attempted to salvage what they could from the ruined scanner. Ellis was in her ready room recording her official report when Ensign Kim contacted her. "Commander, priority message from High Command." Ellis braced herself. "Put it through." Admiral Suresh's holographic image appeared once more, his expression unreadable. Commander Ellis, we've reviewed your preliminary report on the encounter with the Xanthian vessel. Your creative approach to the situation requires discussion. Ellis straightened. Admiral, given the overwhelming force we faced, I determined that conventional tactics would result in the loss of the Valiant and its crew with no strategic benefit to Earth. Your tactics involved unauthorized modification of classified technology and deliberate deception of both the enemy and, by extension, High Command. Sir, with respect, my primary responsibility was the safety of my ship and the defense of Earth. The Aegis scanner's assessment left no doubt that direct confrontation would fail. Suresh was silent for a moment. Then, surprisingly, his stern expression softened slightly. Your creativity is noted, Commander. The Strategic Council is divided on whether to commend your innovation or censure your insubordination. Ellis said nothing, waiting. For now, Suresh continued, you are to return the Valiant to Luna Shipyard for complete refit and repair. A full inquiry will follow, but... He paused. Off the record, Ellis, what you did out there may have bought Earth valuable time. Use it wisely. The transmission ended, leaving Ellis with the distinct impression that her career hung by a thread, hero or scapegoat, depending on which way the political winds blew in the coming days. 3 weeks later, the Valiant sat in dry dock, surrounded by repair crews and technical specialists attempting to integrate replacement systems for the ruined scanner. Ellis stood in an observation lounge, watching the activity through a transparent aluminum viewport. Her reflection showed the strain of endless debriefings and technical inquiries. Commander Ellis. She turned to find a young lieutenant she didn't recognize standing at attention in the doorway. Yes, Lieutenant. Ma'am, there's a situation that requires your attention in Docking Bay 7. Admiral Suresh sent me personally to escort you. Ellis frowned. She hadn't been informed of any scheduled meetings or inspections. What kind of situation? I'm not authorized to say, ma'am, only that it's classified Priority Omega. Ellis followed the lieutenant through the shipyard's corridors, her mind racing with possibilities. Had the inquiry reached a decision? Was she about to be relieved of command court-martialed? Docking Bay 7 was one of the smaller facilities typically used for diplomatic shuttles, rather than military vessels. As the doors slid open, Ellis was surprised to see Admiral Suresh standing beside a sleek craft, unlike any Earth design she recognized. Its hull bore intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow in the bay's lighting. Commander Ellis, Suresh, greeted her, his tone formal, but not hostile. Thank you for coming so promptly. Admiral, she replied cautiously. What's going on? Before Suresh could answer, a panel on the unknown vessel slid open and a figure emerged. Humanoid, but clearly not human. The being stood nearly 7 feet tall with iridescent skin that reflected the docking bay lights in prismatic patterns. Its 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, regarded Ellis with unmistakable intelligence. Commander Mara Ellis, the being spoke, its voice melodious despite the translator undertones. I am Sentinel Therax, former outcast of the Xanthian sovereignty. Ellis tensed her hand instinctively, moving toward a sidearm that wasn't there. Suresh gestured for her to relax. The Sentinel and his associates have been in contact with Earth for the past week, Suresh explained. They approached us, Commander. Because of you. Therax inclined his head. Your tactics during our encounter were unexpected. For millennia, the sovereignty has conquered through overwhelming technological superiority. No species has ever responded as yours did, with illusion and targeted precision, rather than brute force. Your ship, Ellis said, realization dawning. You were commanding the vessel we encountered. I was, Therax confirmed. But not as a loyal Xanthian. My crew and I are exiles, part of a resistance movement that opposes the sovereignty's expansionist policies. We were testing Earth's defenses, yes, but also your approach to conflict. Would you respond with fear, with reckless aggression, or with something more? Ellis looked to Suresh, who nodded confirmation. The Sentinel and his people have offered us something unprecedented, Commander. A technology-sharing agreement. An alliance against the true Xanthian forces. Why? Ellis asked directly. Why help us? Therax's upper eyes narrowed an expression Ellis couldn't interpret. Because in 10 standard years, the main Xanthian fleet will reach this sector of space. What you encountered was merely a scout vessel, and an outdated one at that. Without preparation, Earth will fall in days. Ellis felt cold dread settle in her stomach. And with your help, with our help, you have a chance. Not certainty, the sovereignty's technological advantage remains substantial, but a chance. Your species' creativity and willingness to attempt the seemingly impossible. These are assets the sovereignty cannot quantify or predict. Suresh stepped forward. We've verified their claims, Commander, as much as possible with our current intelligence capabilities. The Strategic Council has approved preliminary cooperation. Ellis studied the alien carefully. Her experiences had taught her caution, but also the value of unexpected alliances. What exactly are you offering? Knowledge, Therax replied simply. Defensive systems your engineers can adapt to Earth vessel specifications. Tactical data on sovereignty fleet movements and command protocols. And this, he extended a hand revealing a small, crystalline object that pulsed with inner light. A quantum correlation matrix that will allow your damaged scanner to function again, but with significantly improved capabilities. Ellis looked from the offered technology to Admiral Suresh. Sir, you're being offered command of the Joint Species Task Force, Ellis, Suresh said. Your handling of the initial contact impressed not just our new allies, but the Council as well. The inquiry has been closed. Your new orders are to work with Sentinel Therax and his team to prepare Earth's defenses. For a moment, Ellis was speechless. From near court-martial to task force command in the space of weeks. But more than the professional validation, she felt something she hadn't experienced since before the fall of Callisto Colony Hope. I accept, she said, finally extending her hand to Therax in the human gesture of agreement. After a moment's hesitation, the alien reciprocated his grip, firm but careful. The work begins immediately, Therax stated. There is much to do and limited time. 6 months later, Ellis stood on the bridge of the rebuilt Valiant, barely recognizing the ship that had once been her command. Where before there had been purely human technology, now hybrid systems integrated the best of Earth engineering with Xanthian exile innovations. The Aegis scanner, or rather its successor, now occupied a larger section of the ship, its capabilities extended far beyond the original design. Patel, now promoted to lieutenant commander, approached with a tablet displaying the latest diagnostic results. Final calibrations complete, Commander. The new scanner array is fully operational. Ellis nodded. And the modifications to our defensive systems? The phase shift shields are at 97% efficiency. Not perfect, but a significant improvement over conventional barriers. He hesitated. The exile engineers are brilliant, but their integration methods are unconventional by our standards. Unconventional saved our lives once, Patel. I'm counting on it to do so again. Dr. Ortiz joined them. Her own role expanded to include cultural liaison with the exile contingent aboard the Valiant. The joint crews are working well together, Commander. Initial tensions have largely dissipated as they've focused on common goals. Ellis wasn't surprised. Nothing united disparate groups like a shared existential threat. And the threat was very real. Intelligence provided by Therax had confirmed that the main Xanthian fleet was exactly where he'd predicted, advancing inexorably toward Earth's sector. Commander, Ensign Kim called from her station. Priority transmission from Earth Command. On screen, Ellis ordered. The view screen activated to show not Admiral Suresh, but a combined council of human and exile leaders. Their expressions were grave. Commander Ellis, the human chairperson began, long-range probes have detected accelerated movement from the Xanthian fleet. Their arrival timeline has been revised downward to 7 years, possibly less. Ellis absorbed the news without visible reaction. Understood. The Valiant stands ready to begin extended patrol and training operations. Proceed as planned, Commander, the chairperson confirmed. You carry the hopes of two peoples with you. As the transmission ended, Ellis turned to face her mixed crew of humans and exiles. She saw in their faces the same determination that had gotten the Valiant through its first Xanthian encounter, multiplied now across species lines and strengthened by shared purpose. Set course for the outer system training grounds, she ordered. We have work to do. As the Valiant pulled away from the shipyard, Ellis moved to the viewport, gazing out at the nebula-streaked sky beyond. In the reflection of the transparistile, she could almost see the shadows of Callisto Colony, not as accusation now, but as reminder of what they fought to preserve. We learned the hard way, she murmured to herself. Doom is just a word until we decide it isn't. The Valiant accelerated to full speed its hybrid engines, pushing the vessel faster than any human ship had traveled before. Behind it, Earth prepared for the coming storm. Ahead lay uncertain futures and untested theories. But for the first time since rumors of the Xanthian Empire had begun, humanity faced the threat not with fear, but with purpose. Not with resignation, but with innovation. And Commander Mara Ellis, once haunted by survivor's guilt, now led the charge with clear-eyed determination. The doom the scanner had once predicted had become instead the catalyst for humanity's greatest leap forward. Whatever came next, they would face it together, human ingenuity paired with exile knowledge, neither bowing to the verdict of inevitability. Because if humans had proven anything throughout their turbulent history, it was this: when told something was impossible, they took it as a challenge. And in the vastness of space facing an enemy of overwhelming power, that stubborn refusal to accept limitations might just prove to be their greatest weapon of all.